You are listening to Ask the Answers podcast. Join me, Adele as I uncover the knowledge, inspiration, and empowerment the psychic world has to offer. Let's begin. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ask the Answers podcast with myself, Adele. I'm your host, and today another talented psychic we're going to find out all about and the ways that they work and all the backgrounds and stories and experiences they have up to date. Let's welcome one of our psychics who's on the Ask the Answers phone lines. We've got Denise with us. Hello, Denise.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
How are you doing today, Denise?
I'm very good, thanks. I had a massage this morning, so I'm really nice and chilled.
Ah, lovely. I need one of them, definitely. So, Denise, tell us a little bit about how you got into the psychic world. How did it begin, this journey for you?
It began many years ago. Actually looked after due to my mother having to go to work after my father had an industrial accident. So from a very young age, I was within this realm because my nan did readings for all the friends and neighbours, and she read tea leaves and palms as well. So she always did it as a way of earning extra money. So sort of when I was 5, 6, 7, I just joined in. So I've learned about tarot cards, and I thought everybody had a nan that did tarot cards, you see. And it wasn't until I was like, oh, she's a bit different. But I've been working for Ask the Answer for 8 years.
Did your nan ever do readings for you?
Yes, absolutely.
What sort of questions
but
did you
I think
ask?
she was a little bit biased. Well, I used to ask her, would I get married? Would I be happy? And would I live a long time?
Brilliant. And when did you realise that you had something special, that you had an ability to predict things for people?
I think it was, I suppose I used to notice that I used to know that, for example, if someone was going to come to the front door, or that the telephone would ring. And I still feel that now. Mm-hmm. I think that I used to hear messages. And the thing is that when you're young, you don't really understand what those messages are and why you're getting, because I thought everybody else did. But it was lovely when, for example, that my grandmother passed over and she came to visit me in the night. And I didn't know that she'd passed over. So actually sort of quite nice. And I thought, do you know what? I can pass these messages on to other people. So I suppose I've always done it for family and friends, but it was, and I found it gave them comfort, and I was able to help inside, if you like. Then I started looking for Ask the Answer, so I could then help.
So, what
everybody.
was your childhood? Absolutely. What was your childhood like? Were you quite a confident person? Were you quite sort of, keep yourself to yourself? Were you, naturally, some people say that they have a bit of a traumatic childhood, brings them into this world. Some people have had obviously an amazing childhood. So what was yours like?
Mine was full of one of 7. Oh, wow. I have another sister that actually are gifted as well. And it was I mean, my dad made a full recovery, but I had a great childhood. It was a busy house. It was a mad house because there were 7 children, lived in a 3-bedroom house, so it was bursting at the seams. but no, I was very.
So you mentioned there that your sisters have that psychic ability. When did you all sort of get together, or have you got together and spoken about your psychic abilities, or is it something you don't discuss?
We do discuss it. We do. I mean, I'm the only one that actually does it as a business. But yeah, we do get together and we do meet up. Actually, when I was dating my husband, because I actually, I mean, my background is science. My degree is biology. I'm always testing the theory is afterlife, and I find it really to know that there is another realm there. And my husband, one of the I took him ghost hunting. So I do that. I do a lot of paranormal investigation time. It's a bit of a whole. My husband is such an avid fan now. Yes. But I would recommend everybody give those evenings a go, because they are really good fun.
So you mentioned there that you had your nan or your grandmother come through, not realizing they'd already passed over. How often did you get those experiences of people from the other side coming through to you?
When I have readings, if it's for example a regular reader, somebody that calls me quite often, they're more likely to come through because I have a better. But you can't guarantee through. That's the thing. My nan quite often, because when people pass over, they're okay. So my nan says it like it is. So sometimes she's quite funny. So when I'm giving a reading, I'm talking to, and she'll say something in my ear, and because I'm, the caller is asking for questions, so I'm using my spirit guide. I've got my nan. I'm looking at the cards, and it's a bit of a three-way conversation sometimes. And depending upon the relationship the person that's calling me, I can tell them what my nan's saying, or I tell them what my spirit guide is saying, but they don't always come through. There's no guarantee when you ring up that they come through. The thing, they don't. I have to just rely on the cards, which is what I primarily advertise my sense as being, because I'd hate anybody to ring up and be disappointed because they don't come through. But I quite often can tell them a spirit with them, who that spirit is and what they're doing. And sometimes they don't speak. So sometimes it's with their hands, and I have one lady that calls me that what her nan was doing. She was fussing and she was ringing at the time, and I said, this person's doing that constantly. I said, she's not angry, it's just what she does. And she said, yes, I know, she fusses all the time, she did that in life. So it was quite nice to do, always speak. And if they've passed over recently, then the energy is quite weak, so you're not going to get a massive connection, and you might just get a small. So it's almost like, what's the most important thing that they have to say? So it might just be, I love you, or I'm with you. It's sometimes it's a very short message, because it takes a lot of energy for them to come through, you see. So
And
sometimes it's quite nice. I can
psychic world. If you're into the psychic world, you have that more understanding. For people that aren't, and they're searching for that reassurance or that peace of mind, as you mentioned, that it can be quite difficult, even when people go to some of these mediumship nights, when they're so desperate to hear from that loved one that might have recently passed, and to maybe not get that and feel that disappointment. And that's why it is important for someone like yourself to say they don't always come through, but also explaining why that is, and having a little look at what they do need to know, maybe that rather than what they want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be disappointing if they don't come through, but sometimes, you know, I think find other ways to let you know that they're there. I think sometimes you might just feel a hand on your shoulder, which is what I feel sometimes. Or it may be that they move something in the house, not in a horrible way, you know, they don't hide things, but, you know, they might move something ever so slightly in the house. Or there might be perhaps a feather outside. You know, there's and people look at robins as well. If somebody's come close by.
I was about to say that to you. I was literally going to lead that question to you. I was going to say, what's your thoughts on robins and feathers and signs like that? Because funny enough, adding into the conversation now is that my dad passed a long time ago, but it's actually his birthday today. And I went to go and we've got a little Shetland in the field, and I went to put the Shetland out this morning, and then the robin was on the stable door looking at me, and it was so close. And I straight away I was like, that's got to be a sign. It's on his birthday. There's a robin right in front of me. And then literally only a few days ago, I started singing my mum and dad's song that they love, Lady in Red, and I never sing that song. I never play it, and I just suddenly just started singing it. And then I said to my husband, I went, oh my God, I'm singing my mum and dad's favourite song, Lady in Red. Where's that come from? And then I thought, what's the date? And then I looked at the dates. I went, oh my God, it's my dad's birthday coming up. I went, how spooky is that? Or how much is that maybe a sign to let me know that maybe he's around at this moment in time, or just a little reminder that he's there?
I know. I think they do try to let you know that most of the time they just want to bring comfort, because you worry about them, but they've passed on and they are okay. They are happy.
Yeah.
And quite often you're worried and upset about them because they've passed over, but they actually worry about you because you're the person that's hurting and missing them, and they don't want you to feel. But the best way to bring somebody close to you is just to think about them. Think about the person that's passed, and they will try and come close to you if they can. So just think about them.
Yeah.
And it will to you.
So you mentioned there about.
And I don't think. No, sorry, Adele. What was you going to say, my love?
No, I was just going to say, so obviously the mediumship, it is lovely to give that person that comfort and to look out for the signs, and as you mentioned, to draw them closer, just think of that person. But you also mentioned there when we were discussing that your primary tool is the cards. So how strong is that connection? Do you have one deck of cards? Do you have numerous deck of cards? How does that work when you're doing a reading?
Well, I've got one that I like, and I used the Celtic cross initially to give an over, and I also use the cards to give yes/no answers. I also have my crystal ball as well that I also use, which helps me to connect. I try to bring spirits through if I can. But with the cards, I start off with the Celtic cross, and when I'm reading, I must admit, I just rabbit on. So I just go into the flow and I rabbit on. So if anybody has a reading from me, I always say to them, please just jump in and interrupt me as much as you like. It will go down whatever pathways you want, and then we can, if they have a specific question or something in the read up that they want to explore more, then we can go down that pathway, you see. But no, I only have the one deck, you see. So, yes.
And how long have you had that deck for?
Forever. Forever. It's the only deck I've ever had. And it
Wow.
has a
Well,
little
you
box that it gets.
can tell many stories then.
I think that I mean I've loved giving readings, and I'm so pleased that I've been able to bring comfort to people, but I've also been able to help roads as well in their lives when they really don't know what to do. And through the tarot cards, we can explore, go down this pathway, will be what the outcome is if we go down that pathway, but also if there's an obstacle. When I give a reading, I don't just tell people this isn't the obstacle. I always tell them how to overcome that obstacle as well, because the cards will tell you that. So I help people with decisions. They're at a crossroads, and sometimes people reach out when, and I understand, and I'm always here for people when they have a time it's extremely difficult in their life. You know, perhaps their partner has, you know, they've had a fallout with their partner and they just don't know what to do. So I'm here to help with that as well, and to give some insights, because I can connect with them through that person. I can pick up how they're thinking and feeling as well. So through that, I can tell if that person is coming back or how they're feeling at the moment, and when they're likely to come back. So that's something else that I offer as well.
Is there any sort of stories or any experiences over the time that you've been a psychic that stand out to you from people that you've spoken to on the phone lines or met in person?
I do have one lady who rang, and the energy was so strong. She came through, and when people come through, sometimes their energy is so bright, it's like the sun has come into my lounge. You know, it's really lovely. You know, people we connect with, and the energy is just wow. And this lady, she rang me, and at the time, I had my grandson who was about 4 at the time, and he had a ball pond which I put in the cupboard under the stairs in the lounge. And he was abed fast asleep, and I was giving this reading about 10 o'clock at night. And her energy was so strong that all the little balls were bouncing out of the ball pond into my understairs cupboard.
My gosh.
So what we had was all this so
Brilliant.
sometimes things happen on my side that the person can't see. But I think I've done it for years. I mean, I'm lucky in that I have some regular callers that call me, and I absolutely love that I've been able to help them through their life. But I think with the balls jumping, and I didn't know actually whether to say it to the caller or not, because I didn't know if it would alarm them. That's the other side.
Yeah.
Is that person going to be alarmed?
Yeah. Brilliant. And for you,
that was,
you've had lots of experiences doing psychic readings, but what do you get back from being a psychic? You know, what's the reason why you keep doing what you're doing?
Well, I was actually a teacher, and I then went to work for social services in the adults of things. But I have to say, this is the best job I've ever had, because I speak to some lovely people, all walks of life, and they have opened my eyes as well to what's happening in their lives and different situations, and it's given me greater understanding the way the works, and speaking to many really genuinely lovely people, and when I do readings, I when somebody's been really pleased with the reading and said, you know, that's helped me such a lot. Thank you, that's helped me such a lot. And that makes me feel, you know, sort of 10 feet tall, you know, that I've been able to really help somebody. So I think that it's a really gratifying job. And that's what keeps me doing it. That's what keeps me doing it.
Is there anything that you don't like about the job that you do? Is there any cons to the psychic world that sometimes we didn't have to deal with?
I'm lucky. I don't have any cons. I think for me, because I don't mind things moving in my house. I'm not scared. I'm like, oh, do it again. You know, do it again. So that doesn't bother me, and all my family and friends know that I do this, and they are sort of quite intrigued. So for me, I don't think there's any negativity at all, and
right.
I think we're really lucky in picking our times as well for scheduling our workload. So that is a massive bonus as well. So for me, there's absolutely no cons whatsoever.
You mentioned you went on a date with your husband doing ghost hunting. Is that something you've done regular? And you know, what are ghost hunts? What actually happens? Is it what it says on the tin? Is it the fact that you are literally hunting for ghosts?
Yes, I want evidence. I want evidence there's an afterlife. So we started going, and the best place I actually ever went was, we were locked in at Oxford Castle, and that is very active. And when these ghost hunts, you know, it's like this, you know, on television, and it's not like Hollywood. You know, there's no demons, and it's because spirits use your energy. So the more upbeat you are, and you chat and you laugh, let's say a group of 10 people, and they use your energy, mated and fun you have, the stronger the activity is. And people don't realise that. They think they sit in the dark saying nothing, you know. So when we were in Oxford Castle, we could hear the horses, we could smell, you know, the cannonballs. And there are skeptics there trying to work things out. But I actually had part was an infirmary years ago, and I had a little hand hold my hand, and I was wearing a pendant necklace, and it was going up and down right in front of me. And the lady standing in front of me, we're not allowed to stand within touching distance, you see. And the lady in front of me, her hair slides were going up and down in her hair. And it was the first time I'd actually seen a ghost. And somebody was sitting in front of me, and I thought, that's odd, because we're all meant to be standing here. And you're not allowed to be within touching distance of somebody. That was the rules, you know. You couldn't go boo or anything. So we were all there, and I put my hand out to this person to touch them, to sort of say, who's this in the semi-darkness? And I put my hand through this person, and it was just amazing. So apart from seeing a family member who'd passed, this was the first time I'd actually seen a ghost. And then I saw a lady walking in white as well, in a very long dress. And because the floor in the olden days was lower, they were further down, so I couldn't see their feet. But absolutely incredible place. But I also do table tipping, where we put fingers like this actually on the table. So you're not holding it, you're actually just literally resting. There'll be a marble on a glass upside down, and we will ask the spirit to move the table. And I've actually had a table vertical like that. with us holding it with the with the glass and the marble. Absolutely, and it didn't even slide off.
Wow, that's incredible.
Amazing. We do that. Yeah, and obviously we do Ouija boards, which everybody gets a bit alarmist about, but we do Ouija boards, and we put light on the Ouija board because years ago everybody could read or write. So we will say move the planchette to the blue light or the red light. So we do that as well, and that's always great fun because again we're like this. We're sort of one finger, sort of just a fingertip. We don't put our hands on it, but we do a lot of spirit boxes where we actually talk. We ask the spirits, and we do get them to speak to us through the spirit box as well. So it's all really. So I feel very confident. Yeah, there's actually an app as well. Can I show you the app?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I show you the app? Is that there are lots of apps. But there is one app. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to do that later and someone comes through and say, hello. I'll be like,
Yeah. I don't know if I can open it, but it'll come through.
So you can download an app, and then what happens? Like, if there's somebody around, it will come through and speak to you.
Yes. What they do is they use, I know. This particular app is called Necrophonic, but there are so many apps out there. That's free. But whenever we go, for example, if we want to do something, we'll have it playing in the evening.
That is so good.
And we'll ask.
That's so good. So with a ghost, is it people that who have been on this earth plane that have passed over? Some people question that if they're still around, that they haven't passed over fully. Is that correct, or is that not correct?
Well, for me, I think a ghost is almost like energy that's left behind. So they're reliving what they did in the past, and I think the spirit is somebody that's earthbound or wants to stay. We ask them, why do you want to stay? They say because they're lonely or they like it here. It might be somewhere that they worked. We come across that. We found people actually stay where they worked, and they like to see people. But sometimes we go places and we say, do you want to speak to anybody here? And no, go. And we apologise and say, I'm really sorry. And we go to another room. So we don't want to upset any spirits, but at the same time, it's quite nice to know why people are still there. But some people, died there. Some people didn't. It's where they grew up. We went to an abbey.
Oh, sorry. I was just about to say myself and our neighbours were having this conversation the other day about our children, and we were saying that in our old house, our son was a terrible sleeper. He would not sleep in that house whatsoever. There was 2 rooms and just one room, no matter how much we changed it. Even when our friends stayed over, they went, oh, it doesn't seem very cozy or homely in this room. It's a little bit eerie. And my son used to sleepwalk and come down the stairs, and we just put it down to him being a bad sleeper. But then as soon as we moved here, he slept, and it was a bigger house. We thought, oh, he's never going to sleep in this house. It's bigger than the other one. He's not going to like it. He slept like a dog. And we did find out that the room that he was in, the lady, the owner's mother did pass away in that room. And when we moved to our new house, no problems whatsoever. He slept. There's no sleepwalking. There's no nothing. And our neighbours are exactly the same, that they're finding their son isn't sleeping well in their house, and they also believe it's where the old owner, who's again passed away, was in that room. So can that energy affect children or people in those sleeping? If it's affecting their sleep?
Yes. I think you should just ask that person to leave. I would just say to them, please leave. You're not welcome. And they do. They're not necessarily tied to that spot. They could be tied to the house. But yes, just ask them to leave. Just ask them to leave.
And what about the cleansing rituals? I know that I used to go with a smudge stick that somebody told me to do in the corners of a new house, and I used to do that with my last house and this house.
Right. Okay. You can. There is a ritual where you can actually put a protection bubble around the person as well. I've used that once with a child who actually had that scenario. But generally, if you go in there and ask and spend some time meditating and ask the person to leave this room, they do. So I don't have a problem. But yes, I have sage. But I do think that. Well, I feel that you can ask them to move nicely, and they do move, because they don't. It would sound to me as if that person didn't want to upset that child, and that's what you need to play on. Because they would not want to upset them. They're not haunting them. They're just tied to them. So that's the thing.
Do you think the energy is powerful? You mentioned there about the ball pit where the balls come out of the cupboard. Do you think the energies are that strong that they can throw things across the room? You hear stories, but oh yes, this got chucked to my head, or the chair turned around. Are the energies that strong that they can actually move, physical items?
Yes, I mean, there's Hollywood, and people talk about poltergeists and things like that. That's a different thing. There are spirits that, for example, if you go into a prison, you're going to come across some that perhaps was a murderer. They're not necessarily nice people. They're not, and so they would be quite likely then to do something. I mean, not to, so, they'll perhaps. The worst thing I've ever had is a stone kick across the floor, and it didn't hit anybody. It just floor, and the person wanted us to go. But yes, the energy can be. I've had a picture. I've had one picture I could not keep up on the wall. It kept being put on the ground, and I did actually get somebody in, and I bought a house off a lady who'd passed away in the house, and she said she just didn't like it.
I just had images of you talking there as your picture falls off the wall as we're talking. Would really freak me out right now.
I put that up, so if it falls down, it's down to me not putting it up properly. I live in this house is a brand new house, and it was land that was a strawberry field before, and that's all that's ever been here. But obviously years ago, but there's absolutely nothing here. But where I lived previously, the house was in the second. The aeroplanes came back to this particular town that I lived in and landed, and obviously there were people that were shot at, that were coming back in the planes, that died or were very injured, and that house had a lot of activity in it, a lot of nice activity. But I remember I had some puppies that I sold because I had 2 Dachshunds. Pictures on the selling site, and I was getting more messages with people saying, I can see orbs, look at those orbs, rather than, oh gosh, is that puppy still for sale? But there was a lot of activity in that house, a lot of activity, but it was actually, the estate was built on the old runway, so there would have been a lot of activity there, I think.
Wow. Isn't it interesting what a camera can pick up that the naked eye can't pick up? I always find that fascinating. What we can't see, but then a camera does pick up.
Yes, if you ever think there's somebody around you, just use your mobile. and take some pictures, and take 2 or 3, not one at a time. Just keep clicking round, and then later on go home and get a magnifying glass, enlarge the photograph and have a look, because you might have captured something. And that's what we do when we go ghost hunting. The room might look ordinary, but we take a lot of photographs, and then we examine, and then sometimes we can see somebody in the rafters, or careful, because your mind is trained to make shapes, to make sense of things. So always have that, is it, isn't it? Because
is it my
you know
imagination,
how
or is it
sometimes
real deal?
you see a shape in the cloud, that's your brain thinking, oh, that looks like a train, or that looks like a sheep or something. So be mindful, really look really carefully. As I say,
How
I
can we
always
define
find
that, our imagination, and it's being actually something spiritual?
I think that we can trust our senses a little bit. I think that I know when we find that there's somebody around us, there's a temperature change, so you might feel a bit colder, you see. That's what I think. And I think that you will feel somebody as well. You'll feel that person around you. And I think sometimes you can see out of the corner of your eye.
Okay. Now I'm interested, because you mentioned it a few moments ago. What is a poltergeist then? Is that not a spirit or a ghost that's just a bit angry?
They use the person's energy, and they are very very active. I think that they are an energy rather than a spirit myself. But I've never come across one. Never come across one.
Do you want to?
There is a haunted house. No, not really. No, I'm very happy with. If you like, I don't want to find all my chairs stacked up or something. I'm quite happy to, if I know with me, I know my nan moves things. She likes to move, for example, my keys, and I thought, gosh, I'm getting dementia. I can't, because I'm actually a couple of months away from being 60. And I was thinking, where have I put my keys? And if I can't find them, I always say, oh, put them back, would you? Put them back. And then they appear again.
Yeah.
So that's actually what I do.
Do you think a poltergeist is like a build-up of bad energy altogether then?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I think they, somebody very young who has a very strong energy can really connect with that. That's something I don't really go into at all. And I would personally stay away from that. I don't know. But there is one very haunted house, and that's meant to have poltergeist activity. And you can spend the night there, but that.
Maybe not.
Not at all.
Wow, it's so fascinating, isn't it? And what about angels? Do you believe in angels? And again, are angels spirits and people that have passed over, or is that something totally different?
For me, an angel spirit that wants to come and help you. Okay, so they might not necessarily, it's like my nan will come and help me. My grandma's pretty quiet, but my nan will always come and help me. But an angel is somebody that is a spirit that wants to help. And it might not be necessarily anybody that you've met in this lifetime. So I feel that, it's almost like you're being nudged. They nudge you. They try and help. They try and help you make the right decision. So it's as if you feel them through your intuition. It's like your intuition is telling you something. And I believe that's an angel trying to push you or nudge you. And yes, I do believe in angels. And many years ago, I went to an old girls' school, And we had this gorgeous RE teacher who was very religious herself, and she bought it and put it on the notice board, these beautiful pictures that she'd taken of the sky, and you could actually see the angels in the pictures. And I was 11 at the time, and I wish I'd paid more attention, but she said, look, there really are angels, look. And I thought that was really lovely. So I've always believed in them because I've seen pictures of them. And yes, I believe that they are around to help us, and I believe that feathers that they leave around to remind us that we're there. So I think we're never on our own, even in our darkest moments when we think we're on our own. Just call out to an angel, and they will be there. They will come and they will put their wings around you and make you feel a bit more comfortable, because you are never, ever on your own.
Oh. Well, Denise, what a lovely way to wrap up the podcast. It's been so lovely to get to know you today and to find out all about your experiences and what you're passionate about. How often are you on the phone lines if people would like to come through and speak to you?
I'm on every day. I do schedule my hours, but I'm on during the day, usually about 10 o'clock. I come off about 3 or 4, and then I'm on at 8 until midnight, and that's almost every night. So hopefully I'll
just
get
seeing here that
some
your
of
PIN
you.
number is 600134.
That's me. Yeah.
Brilliant. Denise, any final words or anything that you want to say to the listeners before you go today?
Just everybody have an absolutely wonderful day, and I really hope to meet more of you in the future.
Brilliant. Denise, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today on Ask the Answers podcast. Good luck with everything for the future.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Adele. Lovely to speak to you as always.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ask the Answers podcast. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and save to your library. Remember, there are 100 psychic readers available on our website for readings 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. To triple your credits on your first purchase, visit asktheanswer.com and click on the new customer offer banner.